Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500, race number 8 of the debut season of the PCSRA Winston Cup Series. Getting ready to cap off what has been an exciting race weekend of action from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Getting ready for the big race here, 33 laps coming your way. I decided to do 33 because I thought it was a consistent amount of laps we're going to have here today. As J TwoTwo starts on the pole, he is second in points, still looking for first win of the season, alongside Ivanko Seaman in the 15. Seaman, on the other hand, is 39th in the points table. He's had a rough start to the year. Tatum Wright in row number 2. Tatum comes into this race 7th in points, having a very good run this season. And Riley Anderson in the number 6. Riley Anderson, on the other hand, comes to this race 22nd in the point standings. As we're going to show you the rest of the year starting lineup, Hamza Albanese had a mechanical problem in qualifying with a sub 37 second lap time. As we're going to get these cars rolling. And hold on. All right, we're going to try that again. Everybody now rolling off the grid. Let's go over the points table, and somebody's had a problem. That's the 17. Hopefully they can get that issue resolved. The points coming into this race are as follows. Margaret Jacobs is the points leader by 22 points over J TwoTwo. Luke Knight is third in the standings, 27 back. 34 back is A Aurora, and fourth as the 17 still has an issue. Not sure what the issue is. And the 31's not pulling up for some reason. Not sure what the deal is. But anyway, that's A Aurora. Courtney Lynn is fifth in the standings. 38 back. Then the rest of your top 10. Ben Tennyson, Tatum Wright, J Bouvier, A Crenshaw, and Cody Smart, your top 10. As we're not entirely sure what's going on with the 17 of Brad Lewis, but we'll get an update on his situation in a minute. He was supposed to start on the, I think, inside of row number 2. But here we go. Green flag in the air. We're racing at Atlanta. And the 17 did cross the start-finish line, so let's see what the issue is. As he pulls into his pit stall, looks like a flat left front tire, so that's not a good start to the day for Brad Lewis. And he dropped 7 spots to 15th in the points, so he's going to go a lap down when this is all said and done, as J TwoTwo will lead the first lap of the race. And there's Brad Lewis with a tire that's fixed. At least it went flat on the pace lap. Oh, now they're going 4 wide. This is not going to work. That's right. Seaman. Okay, they settled it down. That was Seaman, Joseph, and Ben Ericsson that went 4 wide, but thankfully they kept it together. It looks like the 17 has latched onto the back of the field, so that's a good thing. And we have sunny conditions here today, almost same conditions as we had in our Busch race yesterday. Right behind Jacob TwoTwo is Luke Knight in the 40 in the Coors Light machine. Luke Knight came in race third in points. He is the driver that's trying to run down Margaret Jacobs for the points lead. Margaret Jacobs running in 38th right now. Brad Lewis is 1 lap down, so tough break for him. This is being race number 8. After today, we have 5 more races left to go until the All-Star race. Checking the back of the field here. Margaret Jacobs back here. Zachary Taylor's also back here at the rear of the field. That's not good for Taylor because he's only 9 points ahead of 30th in the standings. That is Kevin Joseph, who's at 30th position to points, and Taylor running back here. That's not going to do him any favor. And if Taylor has a poor finish, then he's going to be outside the top 30 in the points, and his win will not count for a spot in the playoffs. So he needs to get going right now. Brad Lewis has that flat tire fixed, but he lost a lot of track position, so he's going to have to hope and pray for a caution. If he's going to have a prayer chance to catch up, as J TwoTwo and Luke Knight have pulled away, and they have a nice little cushion over third place. They have a second lead on third place, Michael Anderson. Michael Anderson comes into this race. If I can find him in the points, he's 36th in the points. And we've talked about all weekend long the drivers who are struggling in the points table having good runs. It's happened the last 2 days here this weekend. Are we in for another repeat of that? More than likely, that's what it's looking like. Should mention this is the final race for Monica Towns on probation. Whereas Annie Winters is still on probation because she had an extra 3 races extended for ignoring the blue flags after Bristol. And of course, you want to be locked into the All-Star race. That way you don't have to worry about points and everything. Next week, these drivers will be at the Pocono Raceway, which will be at 12:30 Eastern Time. There's Jessica Miller. There's Melissa Cooper in the 43. Miller 26th in the points. Cooper is 24th in the points. There's Riley Anderson. Margaret Jacobs, the points leader, not having a good run. Taylor, last time by, scored in the 34th position. That is not where he needs to be. Ashley Horton, who's had a couple of good runs, jumped up to 13th in the points. She's led 43 laps so far. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's the most laps she's led out of anyone who's had a turn up at the front this season. Cody Smart, last week's winner, running in 22nd. Cody jumped to 10th in the points. Cody Smart, our first repeat winner last week. Margaret Jacobs, as Luke Knight looks like he took the lead from J TwoTwo there. And there he is. Luke Knight led that lap. Jacob would like to have it back. Remember, Jacob is trying to run. Remember, these two are trying to run down Margaret Jacobs for the points lead. And the more these two continue to go side by side, the more that's going to allow Michael Anderson and company to catch up. And after next week's race at Pocono, we're a fourth of the way through the season. J TwoTwo, a former Monster Energy Series champion from 23. Of course, all of these races will be here in 2025, this series. J TwoTwo going to go try to go by Luke Knight. And like I said, these two continue to go side by side. That's going to allow Jessica Miller and company to start reeling them in. The insulting part for Brad Lewis, he was 2 points below the cut line entering today. So he's not doing his championship hopes of trying to get a win into the playoffs any bit of good, as we're going to check back here on Zachary Taylor. Running in the 35th position. That is, like I said, not where he needs to be. Getting passed by his teammate, well, technically you can call it a teammate, Brenda Eveling. Eveling is 31st in the points, still running the DuPont color. She'll run that again at Pocono next week. Or actually, she'll run the regular DuPont scheme next week. Next week's going to be a fun race at Pocono with these cars. Luke Knight, Jacob TwoTwo were 41 and 36 points ahead of the cut line, respectively. So Luke Knight, I know, is going to build a nice little. Will continue to grow his cushion a little bit between himself and that cut line. Zachary Taylor, as of right now, running in 34th. This will definitely drop him out of the top 30 of the points. And that would be good news for drivers like possibly Samantha Grainger, who comes in this race 3 points below the cut line. Because if Zachary Taylor falls outside the top 30 in the points, this could put Grainger into the playoff grid. Because remember, Taylor needs to be in the top 30 in points. Marty Stevens is doing his chances of continuing to build that gap between himself and 30th in the standings a lot of good, as Michael Anderson's still trying to reel in the 2 leaders. Jacob TwoTwo would like to do something he's never accomplished. Of course, remember, he just came off winning a Monster Energy Series champion. Could he possibly try to get his first Winston Cup championship? And remember, for the final season of the Monster Energy Series, he's entering that season as the defending Monster Energy Series champ. Of course, that final season for Monster Trucks and Buffalo Wild Wings Series will be in 2026, so that's going to be a nice little swan song season. And remember, it was this race, or this race number we're on, that J TwoTwo started his quest to become a champion in the Monster Energy Series. Which J TwoTwo had a season high 6 races. And I forgot to mention this about April Winter, or Annie Winters rather. If she causes any more problems, she's going to end up getting suspended, which Lauren Ekstrom would be the driver of the 38. But so far, that's not the case. Maddie Crenshaw not having a good run. Hannah Smith was having a solid run. Yeah, Taylor's going to be outside the top 30. Margaret Jacobs is definitely going to lose the points lead to J TwoTwo, leaving today. Coming down to 2 laps to go. RCR versus Chip Ganassi Racing, the top 2 dominant cars of this race. Hannah Smith, by the way, was 5 points above the cut line. This is going to hurt her in the points. Once we get to the playoffs, that cut line is going to get really cutthroat as we're on the last lap of the race, presented by Credit One Bank. And we've only had 1 wreck this weekend. That's surprising. I don't know if Luke Knight's going to have enough, but these 2 will be the top 2 in the championship entering next week at Pocono. And Elijah's favorite driver, J TwoTwo, is going to take the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. And now the question is, has the reigning Monster Energy Series champion locked himself a spot in the Winston Cup playoffs? J TwoTwo would love to win his second PCSRA championship and the first for the Winston Cup Series drivers. Luke Knight will get second. Those 2, as I said, will be the top 2 in the championship leaving today. Jessica Miller third. Great run for her. Jessica came into this race 25th or 26th in the points rather. Michael Anderson fourth, came into this race 36th, so nice run for him. Where in the world did Timmy Turner and that tide ride come from with a top 5? We didn't talk about the Timster, and he gets a 5th. Great run for Timmy. The Tipster was 18th in the points, and with drivers like Zachary Taylor, who is going to be out of the top 30 in the points, this could put him in the playoff conversation. Bouvier will get 6th. Josephine came into this race looking for the 99. 8th in points, shows she'll stay in the top 10 in the points. Melissa Cooper will get 7th. This could put her up in the top 20. Marty Stevens doing his chances of making the playoffs a lot of good. An 8th place result. And Stevens' cushion was 21 points ahead of 30th in the standings, so he's grown that even more with a solid 8th place result. Sean Art will get 9th. Good run for the Texan. 23rd in the points, going to continue to move his way up. And Betty Johnson, just staying consistent, will get herself back in the top 10 of the points with a 10th place result. Annie Thomas got 20th, so we'll see where this is going to situate her as far as the playoff grid is concerned. As you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, Zachary Taylor finished 33rd. I don't think Taylor's going to stay in the top 30 in the points because that's not a good result for him. A couple of other drivers who came in running well in points. Margaret Jacobs, the points leader, 29th. Brad Lewis was top 10 or was 15th in points, so he'll take a hit in the standings. And I believe that is about it as far as that's concerned. So I can tell you, J TwoTwo not only won this race, but will take the points lead. Number one, Zachary Taylor's going to need a good run next week at Pocono if he wants to get back in the top 30 in the points table. So the points are really going to get shaken up again heading into next week at Pocono Raceway. But thank you all for joining me for today's race at Atlanta. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the PCSRA crew today. We showed your full finish results. Your point standings are down in the description heading into next week at Pocono. Should be a lot of fun at Gateway and Pocono. Until those two races, I've been D TwoTwo signing off. Goodbye from Atlanta. You've been watching yet another broadcast of PCSRA TV, where champions are made since 2010 and the best in racing around the world since 2017.